Someone has to buy Russian oil to keep the supply demand equilibrium optimum and check the oil prices. The $30 per barrel discount is really huge. But India didn't buy Russian gas just because of the cotton candy philosophy we discussed earlier. So we bought Russian oil for about 30 to 40% of our requirement, rest of it from the other routine sources, and we bought gas from Qatar and Saudi. A couple of years passed on. There was no much change in the Russia Ukraine war. India and China kept on buying the Russian oil. Turkey, Europe, and China kept on buying Russian gas, and Russia somehow kept its economy running, fighting a continuous war with Ukraine. This made US angry.
Do not buy that Russian oil.
Why? Two reasons. One is the petrodollar. For decades, oil was bought only in dollars, which is the American currency. It gave USA immense power. But in the wake of the war, USA sanctioned and seized many of the Russian foreign assets and forex reserves. So Russia and India and Russia and China started trading in the bilateral currency, that is Indian rupee, Russian ruble, and Chinese yuan. After Russia-Ukraine war started, there is a significant increase in the usage of non-dollar currencies in the oil trade. We can call it the usage of the sanction basket currency in the oil transactions. These include Indian rupee, Russian ruble, Chinese yuan. The usage of this particular sanction basket in oil transactions rose significantly over a decade from less than 0.5% to more than 9% in the period of 2015 to 2025. Even in 2022, it was just around 2.5%. So now US sees it as a big threat to dollar. They see dollar slowly being replaced by other currencies in oil transactions. And factor number two is the US election promise. The new US administration vowed to end the Russia Ukraine war on the day one of their government. They vowed to punish Russia and the other countries buying oil from the Russia by sanctioning them.
Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It will be settled quickly. Quickly.
That led to the trade war and imposition of secondary tariffs. But here is the irony. Who is paying the tariffs? You are, if you are living in America. Yes. Data shows that tariffs on China, India, and Europe roughly are costing the average American family almost $1,000 a year. It is projected to be around $1,300 in the year 2026. The US government is collecting billions in taxes from abroad and also from its citizens, effectively profiting from the trade war as well as the Russia Ukraine war, while claiming to stop both of them. US is making loud noise, but the money keeps flowing. US is projected to collect about 2 trillion US dollars in the form of tariffs from the American citizens in this decade. 2 trillion US dollars is equivalent to the entire US workforce working for about 340 hours, that is 2.5 months, for free. It is the annual salaries of about 25.9 million full time jobs in US. That is more than the population of states like Florida. Besides, US is trying to arm twist as many countries as possible in the name of tariffs in this trade war. Look at how the US President Donald Trump tried to arm twist India since he took the power. We need to take him seriously, but we need not take him literally. So the US points fingers at India and sometimes China. Are we the only one buying the Russian products? Absolutely not. Coming to oil, China is number one buyer of Russian oil. They don't even use ships. They have a direct pipeline and they are filling their strategic reserves while the price is low. Countries like India and Turkey are buying Russian oil, but they are refining it and selling the diesel to the Europe. And the Europe is buying refined Russian oil in the form of diesel from India and Turkey, saying they are not buying Russian oil. Yes, it's the same Europe that banned Russian oil and imposed price cap in the year 2022. Turkey and Europe, besides directly or indirectly buying Russian oil, are also buying majority of Russian gas in spite of Russia-Ukraine war. Looks like India isn't the villain. We are just the most honest consumer in the room. It's just common sense. For our oil demand of 1.4 billion barrels a year, if we stop buying the Russian oil, who else is going to sell it for us? Venezuela, with production of 0.05 billion barrels, it's a joke. From the end of 2022 to 2024, India's Russian oil imports were about 35 to 40% of its oil demand. If India stops buying Russian oil and falls behind the other oil producers, the oil prices would abruptly rise. They will skyrocket like anything. Looks like US wants it. And finally, the biggest secret of all. USA buys lots of things from Russia. While US tells India to stop buying Russian oil, what do you think is US buying from Russia? Russian uranium powers the American nuclear plants, which generates 20% of electricity in USA. US issued themselves a waiver to keep buying Russian uranium till the year 2028. Number 2, to keep the American food cheap, USA is buying record amounts of Russian fertilizers. Number 3 is the titanium. See that Boeing plane? The landing gear of the aircraft is made from titanium, which is being imported from Russia. Looks like US sanctioned the things they can sell and exempted the things they need to buy. After all, they are the superpower. They can do what all they want. And India is an aspiring, growing economy. Till we become a $10 trillion economy, and even beyond that, we will see many tactics of this kind: arm twisting, pressure tactics in the form of trade wars, sanctions and tariffs, Epstein files, farmer protests, student protests, and coups to overturn the government, etc., etc., etc. So, next time you see a headline about India funding the war, India buying the Russian oil, India not buying the Russian oil, India looking for alternative sources to the Russian oil, India buying oil from Venezuela, just remember our huge oil requirements. No one country can quench our thirst. We need to look at the cost, quantity, quality, and also the diversification of the supply chain to ensure stable energy supplies. And everyone else, including the superpower, are playing the same game. That's why Indians should know certain things to protect our national interest. And you should subscribe to Know Things for more clarity on geopolitics. Please share and subscribe. Thank you.